Yep. Yeah. All right. Hey, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, first and foremost, we want to give all praises to double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, and peace, love, salutations, blessings. Shout out to David, which is the elect. Right, hey, we're just coming back once again. Breaking news. Brothers who just together in the spirit. Just came back from eating, and yeah, it was very spiritual, man. Very spiritual. Everything just played out, but just watching, seeing the things that's happening in the earth as the Lord is doing. We got breaking news. Trump just announced that America just attacked 3 nuclear sites of Iran, right? Fordo. I don't know how to pronounce that shit. Yeah. So bring it out.
So it says, President Donald Trump, this is from Washington Post. It says President Donald Trump said this Saturday, that U.S. warplanes carried out strikes on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, calling the attack successful and saying the aircraft had departed Iranian airspace.
Mm-hmm.
The strikes targeted nuclear facilities at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan.
Right.
Trump said in a post on Truth Social, a full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo.
So you just had the B-2 bombers, right? Flew out today, from America to Guam, and they were going toward the Pacific. So clearly, this was something that they already knew was going to happen, right? And they kept saying, it's within 2 weeks, which is all, disinformation. You had Netanyahu last week said that Trump participated in the disinformation operation, right? So a lot of stuff that they're saying in the public, they're deliberately lying to the people because they want you to think something different. They want you to not be aware, not be paying attention. But, they through the spirit, man, the Lord has us ahead of the game, man. And that's a beautiful, thing to be in, because we know what's going to happen. We know, what is going to take place, right? How this ends, and through the spirit, brothers was talking that, before this all happened, a little testimony, we was all speaking. And we was wrapping up. We was, like I said, we was eating, together, being in a holy conversation. And, brothers have mentioned how we are being in the truth. You got to be a little weird. You got to be weird, right? Because if you're not of this world, then you're in this world. That means you don't belong. See, but yeah, you don't belong. So, we were saying, how you got to be a little weird to be in the truth. And brothers actually, what do you think is weird, right? And it was like, just wanting, right, the end of this age is weird, right? To the people of this world. And we were saying how rejoicing that bombs are being dropped is a weird thing. This is before anything happened, before the news. And then literally right after that, we saw, because we were by an airport, and we saw a United States Air Force plane land. And I was like, oh, that's a military plane. Right after that conversation, brother, get a breaking news. You get that breaking news. Yep. And it was on the TV, popped up on the breaking news.
This is we stood up. We all saw it. Yeah. You sitting there, you don't see it. When you stand up, you see it. It's right in your face. Perfect timing.
Yep. And that, that goes, those things like that shows you like how the Lord is dealing, man. Right. For us, like, it don't take much for us to like just to rejoice in the spirit and see things how the Lord is showing. But, that right there showed you that we're in these times, man, that there's going to be supernatural events. There's going to be things that if you're not connected to the spirit, you're going to completely miss it, But hey, going into the news, this is major. Now we know, of course, there's still prophecy that has to unfold. But as we were saying earlier at camp, that these things can speed up the other prophecies, because we always liken it if prophecy is linear, and there's something that needs to happen before this war pops off, exponentially, then that means it's going to speed up the things that's before it.
Whatever. Just like you were saying, to get to the point of nations shooting nuclear missiles at each other, that's not something that happens overnight. Mm-hmm. It takes a buildup. Right now, the Lord is like literally gathering the nations, as He says, it's His determination to gather the nations, right? So by using the small hats to trigger this, and now they've already at this point drawn in the US, which means that other nations are gonna have to get drawn in. And like we were saying, Iran mentioned that they're gonna strike if they warned what would happen if the US got involved, and then the US just got involved. So by them striking back against the US, and also potentially closing that, which they might just do it now, the Strait of Hormuz, that's going to cause not just an escalation in war, but a turmoil around the world, economic wise.
Oh, Trump to address the nation at 10 p.m.
So, and it's like the Lord is having it pop off just like that, just like that, just like that. So just like you said, yeah, it's like a weekend. So what are the markets going to look like come Monday? And that disinformation campaign, if you look at the actions they were taking versus their words, it was all a psyop. Because they were evacuating people from that region, and then they were sending their bombers over to that region. And then they were telling people don't go to that region, but then they're telling them, Trump came out and said, we might do it, we might not. I haven't made a decision. Then he says, maybe we don't need to actually bomb them to come to an escalation solution. Then he said they want to come to the White House and talk, and then boom, they go ahead and bomb them. Now, that's how we know that this was going to be serious, because they were using legit psyop and disinformation campaigns. Because originally we would say like, yo, why do you announce what you're about to do before you do it? And that's what they usually do. But this time they actually played the real game of misleading them in the public eye, and then undercover, actually doing this shit. So hey, it's like the scriptures say, man, now is the time to rejoice and look up, because our salvation is nearer than when we believe.
That's right. And if I may add to your point, not only can the Strait of Hormuz get shut down, but the other Arab nations can shut down the Red Sea. So there's other shipping lanes, not only the Strait of Hormuz, but other shipping lanes can get shut down, because all the dragons of Arabia right now are activated because they look to Iran, and especially the Ayatollah, which he might be next. You might hear in the next few hours, 24 hours, 48, depending, could be, could not be, but we're going to watch that the Ayatollah got taken out, which he already has his successors. Why do you think he lined up his successors? Because he probably already has intelligence. They about to take his ass out. And now the other shipping lanes, not only the Strait of Hormuz, but the other shipping lanes of that region where all the oil comes from. So you could look at within the next, it's very well within the realm of possibility for the price of gas to triple, quadruple, skyrocket in the next few days.
Within the was it Yemen or whoever says they're gonna start bombing any ships that comes to the Red Sea?
That's right. There you go. That's right. So I got a precept for brothers, and you can break it down. All right. 1 Thessalonians 5:3.
Hey, start at 1, bro.
But when they shall start at 1. Start at 1. Kind. That's what I thought of too. 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
That's right, man. So hey, when we speak, this isn't something that should be news to the ones who are a part of the household of the faith, man. Because these are the things that we've been warning about, watching, right? Measuring the times diligently. So when Paul says that you have no need that I write unto you, that you know what time it is, man. You know the times and the seasons. Right, and the thing is, now things are happening so quick. We're not going to have enough time to just be breaking down everything. We brothers will be saying it all the time. When you go into the news, it's like briefings now. There's so many news out here. We just got to read the headline. You got to read it for yourself. It's just too much stuff. There's too much stuff going on right now. That's why, hey, the Lord has given the time for you to, build up. If you haven't been built up right by now, as it says, go to the sellers and buy, man.
Shall be no more vain divination.
Yep. Just a little bit more on that.
Yeah, and mind you, before I read this, Trump said after he did all that, he bombed Fordo and a couple other sites. The main one was Fordo that they have been mentioning.
He said Fordo is gone. That's what he just
Fordo's
said.
gone. So whoever's in there might be gone too.
But there was Russians in there.
And there was Russian scientists, nuclear scientists working. So the fallout is the fallout has not even really, it's just the shock, the initial shock and all, and now the fallout, you're going to see in the next few hours to days of what's going to happen. But Trump said after all that, he said, this is a time for peace. So let's read this.
They said it's a historical escalation in the Middle East.
That's big words. That's it.
Historic. Big, beautiful bill. Big, beautiful judgment is coming. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. But when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Right. Now, what did Trump just say? I'm finishing off I asked what you said. Right. Trump tweeted this. He said, all planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. That's that pride. This the next words is all caps. It says, now is the time for peace. Exclamation mark.
That's it right there. And that's the like you said, double speak. There you go. When they say peace, they mean war.
There you go. It says, thank you for your attention to this matter. What does that mean? Finally, we've gotten your attention. Thank you for paying attention to what we're about to do. He said, when they shall say peace and safety, Trump just used the word, now is the time for peace.
All right, it shall say.
And that's the bullshit is he's throwing a combination and he back off. All right, fight's over.
Right.
Nigga, now you're gonna get something back.
Retaliation.
It's an exchange.
Yes, sir.
That's a coward though. A coward, he gonna get his shit off and say, all right, fight's over, man. No, you gotta get your shit now.
God, hey. Zephaniah, brother, got anything? Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8, it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. I got one on that. And
It said this is the Lord's determination, man. Which that word determination goes into his counsel or his plan. So this is the Lord's doing, and that's what people don't understand, man. This isn't something that is just happening between men. This is the Lord actually causing this to happen for a particular purpose, which is ultimately to give the kingdom, the dominion to his son. This is what this is all about. This is the controversy of Zion, man. All of this is happening for Israel to get the dominion. And this is why we rejoice. This is why we are looked at as weird to everybody, because we understand that, oh, this is for our sake. This is for us to get the kingdom. This is for us to get the glory.
That's right.
These other nations, hey, what is it? Joel 3, proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, prepare wars. Who is he telling to proclaim this? The prophets, man. And this is why they're going to come after us. Because through the Spirit, we're causing this. Ultimately, it's the Lord, but he's having us profess it to cause it to happen.
So I gotta continue on that. Revelation 19, verse 17. It says,
Let me just say this real quick. You know, we understand. The beautiful thing is we understand the order of prophecy, and it's very exciting because even though we know that obviously tomorrow is not going to be a nuclear war, right? But we're excited that things are happening, right, in the direction of prophecy. You know, we've been like, imagine driving so long and you finally seeing the signs where it says like destination in like 0.5 miles. That's what we're seeing right now, and it's very exciting because we would take this any day over just sitting there waiting for what's going to happen. And now we're seeing the Lord. What's that? Psalms 119 and 126. It is time for thee to work. That's one of my favorite precepts because watching the Lord. Watching the Lord work is a beautiful thing when you understand what, like Zaquan said, what his purpose is, what his goal is, and we're finally seeing the Lord bring into fruition the things he promised us. So we're closer now than ever than anybody, even going back to the one who the promise was given to, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So now's the time to be excited. Now's the time to turn up. Now's the time to keep your eyes peeled. Because yes, war is brewing, war is coming, but there's always intermediary things. There's always a lot of things that happen in the midst of war, right? EMPs, blackouts, you know, nation striking nation, freaking somebody can shoot a whole, they're complaining about being on alert for sleeper cells inside of the nation.
Yep.
And
they said they was going to activate it.
Exactly.
If something happened. The Strait of Hormuz being closed down. Yo, Monday, the whole economic global economic system could be in a frenzy, man.
Yep.
You go from they projected $300 gas, $300 oil for a barrel if they shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and they were saying that would be like $7 to $8 of gas, but that projection could be even way worse.
They said, what's that? Republican U.S. Representative Thomas Massey says Trump's decision to launch U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities is not constitutional.
So he's been talking shit too.
Because in order for America to go to war, you got to get constitutional, the Congress approval. So you remember him striking Iran is not like him striking a terrorist group.
Right, right.
You're striking a whole nother nation of people, and that's a declaration of war. So they just basically declared war on Iran without the Constitution, without the Congress approval, which is unconstitutional.
And they can't pull out now. Iran ain't gonna be like, oh well,
didn't tell
because you didn't get it, you didn't tell Congress, so it doesn't count.
Right. So that means Trump is moving as a dictator. So if that's the case, then what? That's Isaiah 19.
Well, if you're in a time of war, you could declare a state of emergency.
He's a wartime president. He
Martial
basically-
law.
He's a wartime president. And guess what? Even you don't need Congress for this because right now we're still in a national emergency. So he can declare these things.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't be paying attention to that. Since the Civil War back in the 1800s, national emergency has still been in effect till today. You know, so imagine in a time of war, now you got to get ready for the draft. Bro's been saying that for years. The draft is coming. You know, now they have to give you a reason for you to send your sons and your daughters over to overseas.
Well, that's
go fight that war. That's
Second Ezra 16.
Yes, sir.
That they shall lament for the helpers and their husbands shall die in the wars.
Yep.
The bridegrooms not having no bride.
Yep.
And when you think, and if you think about it, like, even though like he needs Congress approval, but what if like on some shit like Congress knew they was going to do it and they acting like they didn't know? Because like yo, on some real, when they talk about Israel, they always down to defend Israel. All these Democrats and Republicans.
Of course.
So all that Congress shit, that's just for them to make it seem like they don't want it. But yo, they
It's for the
all with this shit, man.
Yeah, it's for the people.
It's all, yeah, it's for the, exactly. It's all for the show, man. It's
Yeah.
WWE, man.
Yeah.
But they all at the same time, they all behind the same show. They all take orders from the elites, and the elites want this shit to happen because the Lord wants it to happen, right?
Hey, Netanyahu said that. He said, look, we don't care about what the American people have to say because we have the politicians in our pockets, we have the congressmen in our pockets. All these people that you see in Congress or Senate or whatever the case may be, we have them in their pockets, including the president. So we can do whatever, we can say whatever, and they're going to go along with it. All right? So Israel knows that they own America. They don't got to do too much, man. All right, I got a quick precept here. This is the book of Luke chapter 10, verse 24. It says, for I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. Right, because we're in the time of the end. You know, so all these prophecies that we're seeing, the prophets of old were saying these things. Even the disciples were asking Yahushua, will you now restore the kingdom of Israel, like at this time? You know, because you're here. You know, we're going to finally rule. Now the Lord's like, no. It's not for you to know the times of the seasons. You know what I'm saying? It's only the Heavenly Father who knows. But guess what? I'm going to show you signs to show you that we are actually in that time. Right. And we're seeing those signs. Part of those signs are seeing big mega countries like Iran and Israel going at it, and that's what that vortex that brings in America and all these major countries that brings in that World War III into the Valley of Jehoshaphat, man. You know, you notice this is not happening in Africa, it's not happening in Asia, it's not happening in Europe, it's happening in Western Asia, which is where the Levant area is at right now. You know what I mean? So this is all biblical prophecy. We're living in those times, man. And you know what makes it very pivotal? Is because the whole world is aware of what's actually happening right now. And what are they all saying? Oh, America. Even brothers are saying it today. Oh, we're going to get bombed. Oh, this is war. America's going to go to war. Well, like the past 5-10 years, you haven't really heard Americans really have that spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like getting all scared and shit like that. But now they're all scared because they see the prophecies coming to pass. When Russia was going against Ukraine, Biden and them, they was getting involved and NATO was getting involved, but people wasn't really worried like that. They were worried about inflation. Right. Now people are like, yo, time out, man, hold on. Wait a minute. This could really involve us. We don't want to be a part of this, but guess what? There's going to be an FF that's going to cause Americans to be like, you know what, fuck it. Congress has declared war on Iran. We're going at it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And,
You got it, bro.
so Revelations 19, verse 17, it says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. You know, so this is what the Lord is planning out here. You know, like we've been telling you that the death is coming, but now it's time for you to actually not have to hear it from the mouth of the Lord. Now it's time for you wicked unbelievers to actually, you get your wish pretty much, because that's pretty much your dare. You know, if you guys are saying what's true, how come I didn't see it? Well, the Lord is about to what? The Lord is about to show to you. But the difference is that when the Lord shows it, it's gonna what? It's gonna be to the joy of his servants, and it's gonna be to your detriment. You know, you had no idea. You were warned that a day is coming where you shall give an account of everything that you said. And that the number one thing that all you wicked unbelievers were saying
is that you wanted to see proof. You wanted to see that God exists. You wanted to see what truly the man of the Lord. Well, now you're going to see. But you're going to see it on the battlefield. You're going to remember when your tongue and your eyes are consumed in your skull. Right? You're going to remember yo, it's getting crazy out here, man. Now we're laughing out there, but there's great fear upon them. Because when we went in the restaurant, when we saw the news, we were the only ones rejoicing.
Yep.
Everyone went there was looking at us like, yeah, like Zaquan said, we were weird, because everyone's watching the news and they are watching and I saw it. Yeah, exactly. Like they're looking at us like, yo, why are these people clapping? Because we made a ruckus.
Yeah, we did make a ruckus. And you know what's spiritual? We didn't leave. Like you could have tell like 30 minutes prior, like we should have left. But something had the spirit, like just haven't stayed there. And we just kept staying there. And then that's yo, man, the Lord is bad.
I had to leave like hours before.
Yeah.
Remember
Mind you, before that announcement came, we seen a big ass military plane landing over here by North. So, hey man, you people been wishing for death. Now you're gonna meet the Grim Reaper. Hamashiach Yahushua.
It's no longer pages on the book. We're actually living the things that we tell them about all the time. Amos 10:11, right? We're no longer going to be telling people all the time, look, we're no longer going to be out there on the streets telling you about these things. What? Eventually, you're going to be seeking them in, but you're not going to find them. Things like that. I believe that's Jeremiah, the 15th chapter. Go and tell them, yo, to death, if I'm not mistaken, sword to the sword, famine to the famine. You're going to be living the pages on the book. We're no longer going to be having to say, hey, get Ezekiel 9 and 4, if I'm not mistaken, things like that. You're going to be living the pages.
The live stream Sabbath service we did, when what is written becomes reality, through the Spirit, starting with our elders and their elders, it's already been prophesied that America was going to go to war with Iran. The brother Ali Shah always mentions about when he first came into the truth, he first thing that clicked in his mind was Iran. Like once Iran starts becoming talked about more in war. And back then, Iran wasn't really talked about that much. Back then it wasn't talked about as being, going to war with Iran. They always spoke about, Bibi always came with his little chart and was like, this is the nuclear spot right here. This is the red line. But it was never like, it was serious, like, we got to actually go to war.
Right.
But here it is. This is what it is now. And this is something that was foreordained, something that was talked about. And so now you can't say like, oh, yeah, I've been saying this because that's what's reality now. So what are you going to say? That's why the Lord said that he's going to, brother can get Ezekiel 12.
You got it.
In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 12, verse 23, it says, tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord power. 22. Yeah. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 12, verse 22. The son of man, what is that proverb ye have in the land of Israel, saying the days are prolonged and every vision faileth? Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, this, it says, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision.
The effect of every vision. So the Lord made the proverb that's scoffing to cease by making what we was prophesying actually come to pass. Because before it was easy to say, I've been saying that. Right? I've been saying that. But now you can't say that no more. Because what we've been saying is actually happening. And this is really just the beginning of it. That's what people don't realize. People think like, oh, this is the end. Oh, it is the end. But the Lord told us what? The end is not yet.
Right.
So this is just really the beginning of sorrows. Right. So if you got people, which we got the title from, right? Well, it's been fun because when you see the breaking news, you're going to see how people react to the news. And people are going to express their feelings. Right. People are not happy. They're not, oh, this is great. Only the elect, only the hopeful elect, only the ones that are not of this world. Everybody else is afraid. They're scared. They're confused. They're, saddened. But this is really just your beginning of your sorrows. That's why I said it's the beginning of your sorrows. There's just more to come. Get Second Ezra 16th chapter. The beginning of famines and great death. The beginning of wars. The beginning of evils. This is what people don't realize is the Lord is just getting started. He's just starting to cook.
You know, so
Bro, something here. It says here, this is Senator Wicker, our commander-in-chief, has made a deliberate and correct decision to eliminate the existential threat posed by the Iranian regime. It says here, we now have very serious choices ahead to provide security for our citizens and our allies and stability. And I think it's going to say a bit more, but I couldn't see the rest on there.
Is that President Trump reportedly believed there was no off ramp for diplomacy with Iran.
Bro.
So all of that bullshit he was talking about 2 weeks, I'm gonna give them a chance.
Just talk.
If they're doing this now and they're coming out so blatantly lying, that means that they know that they really got a short time.
Yep.
Like they can't even stand with the enchantments of trying to be delusion, like trying to have an illusion no more.
And Israel already assassinated the head negotiator of Iran. What kind of sign is that? That yes, we want to have peaceful negotiations. Kill this nigga. All right, yo, come back to the table. Who's next?
Kill the next one.
Come on, bro. But this is what the devil does, man. You see, this is how you know who the Edomites are. That great serpent that it talks about in Revelation. If you can't tell who that is by now, then you're not playing with a full deck, man.
And through the Spirit, wanted to say that with, you know how we always talk about these intermediate prophecies that need to take place. Like you've been saying a lot lately. You know, the Lord can have it to where this causes those things to happen because, you know, we always think about like famine of the word, persecution, MOTP, almost like individual prophecies that need to take place. But it could very well all be interlinked, right? And it could come forth from a situation caused by this that's going on to where it's all happening like at the same time as side effects of what's going on here.
When the calamity comes as a whirlwind.
Exactly, as a whirlwind on all fronts. And now we're like, oh shit. And now we're seeing, now it makes sense why there's going to be a famine of the word. Now it makes sense how they can introduce X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, we got to watch and see.
You gotta watch.
Yep.
Secondary 16.
Yep.
Secondary 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death.
Yep.
The beginning of wars.
So hey, Ezra's warned about the beginning of sorrows, and Hawashai warned about the beginning of sorrows.
Right.
So that's a separation of a time period of a time of plagues, where the Lord says like these things are going to happen, but that's just the beginning. And as he equates it to a woman that just starts to travail with a child, the first contractions are the easiest ones, but it's still painful.
Right.
You still got more to come.
That's the signal.
That's the signal. So when she get those first ones, I feel it coming. But the latter parts, if she never had birth before, she's not about to realize what she's about to experience. It's going to be way worse. That's why she's like, "I'll just get it out of me. Do whatever you gotta do. Chop me out. Chop me. I can't do it anymore." That's how people gonna be. They gonna be like, yo, completely bugged out of their mind, so I can't take it anymore. The Lord gonna hit them with more. Hey, Northern Kingdom. The Lord gonna hit them even more, man. Because the Lord said He know how to deliver the godly. He know how to reserve the wicked to the day of wrath, man. You ain't gonna escape it. This is what we just read in 1 Thessalonians. Lord ain't gonna be caring about you no more, please. No more. Huh? Oh God. Oh God.
Just more.
Just
You know, I thought about as we were speaking, there was a car that pulled up that was playing music, and then you had like people walking up to it, and you could tell they have absolutely no clue what just happened. And I was looking at the dichotomies to see like when you like that's why the scripture said it'll be like a thief in the night, because literally as world breaking news is happening, people have no clue what's going on at all. And we're like, yo, they could literally freaking West Coast could literally get bombed right now, and people would be here just having no clue what's going on.
because they didn't get bombed,
Yeah,
so they don't care.
it's crazy, you know. Hey, but Brock can tell you how about something else.
And it reads, the beginning of wars and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come?
Yeah, what you gonna do when it comes for you? It ain't bad. And this is the man of the Lord that's in this mindset, man. But we know, through the Spirit, what we're going to trust on the Lord. Right? But what everybody else is going to do, you're going to try to run down to Egypt. You're going to try to seek, laying your hand on a broken reed, broken staff. None of those things are going to work, man. Trusting in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, that's the only way. And that in itself is something that you got to get with before this. Before what's that? Zephaniah, seek the Lord before the day of his wrath, before the day come as chaff. You got to seek the Lord before it, because he don't want you to seek it when it happens. Yeah, that's fake.
You know, they got they saying that Trump's they call it Truth Social. He's having technical issues after he made this announcement, and the default page when you can't load it, it says no truths, but then you have the tabs where it says like truths replies. So it's interesting how they're calling it truth. We call this the truth, and that's the website that's posting a lot of these prophetic things that are happening on.
The 48ers say the world is now safer, but now a safer place following the U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear facility.
You said safety.
That's the safety side of
What
it.
the fuck?
of this
Bro? Yeah.
Something is coming. Something is coming.
Bro, that's a setup, man. That's a setup. That's a setup.
They're
They're
painting
that image.
They're painting. Something big is about to happen. Exactly.
And really, they're pushing that because they know people don't believe that.
Right.
Shit.
Right.
Nobody, the people in the Babylon don't feel safer.
No.
The people in the world don't feel safer.
No.
You had the NATO saying, "Oh, we don't think that you should be attacking. You don't think we should force a regime change."
Right.
So you now already have different viewpoints within NATO about what America is doing on the behalf of the 48ers, which the least of the flock is drawing them out. You got it.
2 Ezra 16 and 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges.
That's right. And that's why we only care about the elect, man. Because it doesn't matter what happens. If you're not the elect, people are not they're not going to seek the Lord, man. What you got? What you got?
It says the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Group Corps statement: the war has begun.
It's been fun, everyone. Yo, hey, but this is the times that we've been waiting, Brandon. We rejoice, but we also, are using wisdom to know. Can't gotta be one excited. Don't two excited. One excited. Just because we know we gotta measure the time. So we know, but we also rejoice. I got a quick scripture. I know you got something.
Real quick before you bring that out,
Yep.
I just had a call from.
I'm bringing it out.
Yesterday, I was talking to my friend at work, and I was telling him, I said, I broke down all the prophecies. I told him about the war, how it's going to happen. I said, once you start seeing America going against Iran and Israel and all them, beware. As soon as this thing happened 11 minutes ago, he just called me. I missed the call, but he just called me because guess what he's going to talk about? Today's Saturday. We don't talk on Saturday because I'm off. So why do you think he's calling me? Because he's trying to say, yo, bro, everything you just said yesterday is happening today. What the fuck? Well, here we are. So they see it. Everybody's seeing it, man. You know? You guys are
The Iranian Revolution Guard. The U.S. must await severe punishment. We will target all American interests in the Middle East.
Not just the Middle East either. Oh shit. There's gonna be over here in Babylon too, man. But here, Luke 21, verse 21, verse. Damn, my bad. 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And that's what we're doing, man. The Lord is showing these things to begin to come to pass, and we are excited, man, because we know ultimately, if the Lord said, "He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved." That's a promise that the Lord gave unto us, man, and we believe that. We believe that no matter what happens, if we stay true and we stay diligent, the Lord going to deliver us, man. And it's going to be miraculous. Hey, Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. The strangeness of our salvation, the righteous man can stand in great boldness. Girl, we had to go through, and of course, we haven't been doing it as long as our apostles and elders, but we had to go through, being fools for the Yahweh Shai's sake, being laughed at, being ostracized, having our families come against us, calling us weirdos. Right? You had our family, you had certain brothers and families, yo, you might as well just go to the spirit world. So they tell us that, yo. You got certain women that laughed at us, all these things. But the Lord said, well, he told Peter, if you forsake all now, and follow him, you're gonna get 100-fold, and on top of that, eternal life, right? So yes, we are lifting up our heads in these times because we see our redemption drawing nigh.
Yep. We see it.
We see it.
This is Proverbs 1 and 26. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh.
Read it two verses up.
2 verses up. Proverbs 1 and 24. Because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded.
Right.
Verse 25. But ye have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof.
Right. So that means you have no excuse. You had a warning.
Mhm.
Brothers, even brothers with personal friends and families, we told them all these things, man. We gave them details, we gave them names, and then we told them at times, all that. We said, when you see this, that means this, and that means this, and it's going to affect this way and affect that way. And ultimately, America's destruction. We said all these things, man. And now we're starting to see those signs and those things that we talked about coming to pass. You got it, bro.
Verse 26.
Mhm.
I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh.
Right. And what's that fear? It's going to come in the name of all kinds of different calamities that's going to happen to this place.
Yep.
It says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Yep.
As a woman that travaileth, and they shall not what? Escape. So what does that mean? You're going to be led right into that MOTB, all that type of Jacob's trouble, man. You know?
Hey, what does Zelensky tell Trump?
Mm.
You're gonna feel it.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna feel it.
Yes, sir.
Don't tell us how.
You think America gonna do what it does and American people not gonna feel this?
Right.
Like, come on.
Mm.
But that goes to show you where Isaiah 47, it says, thou that dwellest carelessly, man. You don't get to put your hands in a cookie jar and don't think it's not going to get stuck. This nasty ass, fat ass, Edomite pig hands, man. This shit ain't going to get stuck in there. You're going to get caught red-handed.
We were talking about they closed the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
If they close that down, they said they would close it down if they attacked Iran. So we got to see how that goes.
And you know, Americans, my bad, bro.
Oh, you
You
got
know,
it.
Americans, they not used to adversity.
No.
You're not used to adversity, man. You don't know what it is. Most Americans don't know what it is to not have air conditioning. Don't know what it is to not have hot water. Don't know what it is to not have electricity.
Right.
Don't know what it is to not be able to afford gas.
Yeah.
Then when the gas goes up, that means the food price is going to go up. Because guess what? Those trucks are going to have to go and pack these stores, man. You're going to mention it all the time. People think that food just spawns.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, it's right there. And then when you don't see it there, you bug out. Or if you see it there and it's $15 for a loaf of bread, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna say that when you compare problems within America and the world, see the other worlds they have what's known as famine, but America has what's known as food insecurities. And food insecurities, it's not a bad thing at all. What it is the quantity that they're used to and the quality that they like. That's what they ain't getting. Yeah. I was saying like America's food insecurity, which they think that they're in a famine. It's not really famine. It's just like if you go to the grocery store, the kind of bread that you want to get, it ain't really there right now. You may have to get a different brand, and then they start wilding out. But they put that shit in an article, and I'm like, oh, food insecurity. That's a big. I'm trying to do a video on it. I do some research. Food insecurity ain't nothing wrong with it. It's just a bunch of the food they want to eat. It's not there. Just get a different off brand and for a cheaper price, and you'll be all right. Yeah. And then they just wilding out. But yeah, Zaquano's right. I don't know if brothers got
That goes to the hunger as well.
Yeah.
Because all these things is going to affect the supply chain, man. Once the Straits of Hormuz is closed, it's not just energy; it also affects your produce. And don't forget that the tariff that Trump was putting on earlier this year, those side effects are going to start taking effect very soon, man. And when Iran gets attacked, China just came out trying to make a deal, talking about, listen, man. Hey, I think this morning I was reading about it. They were saying that China is coming out and Russia coming out and saying, look, don't America don't attack Iran because the side effect is not going to be good for everyone. So they're saying that's China. You know what I'm saying? So if China is getting involved and saying, if you attack Iran, it's going to have astronomical effects on everybody, pretty much the whole world. You gotta take it into consideration, man. If the Straits of Hormuz is closed right now, we got a big problem. The whole economy, the entire United States economy is going to take a hit because guess what? The petroleum, right, the so-called gas and so on and so forth that
that helps everything move, the so-called petrodollar, that gets a hit right then and there. And that's what they need in order to shift everything over to a so-called digital currency. So this is all a plan that they're doing, but the people going to feel the effect the most. You see what I'm saying?
Even medication depend on
The shipping. So,
shipping.
yeah.
It's life. You know?
Second Ezra 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. Everything that's happening right now is happening in the east.
The appearance. Yep.
Right.
Starting over there. Yep.
Where the nations of the
just do a few, that was my piece. You just read it and then just continue on down.
okay,
One
come
more
on.
verse. I think from 26, and then that was,
Oh, use
yeah, that was what I was holding.
Come
So
on,
you can read from where you at.
Yeah, exactly.
come on. Okay. 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and a multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all which hear them may fear and tremble. So this is what you refer to in the modern day as the Muslim world, the nations of the dragons of Arabia, which is separate from the Carmanians, but they're on one accord.
Right. The Arab world.
The Arab world, but it's activated because basically the Muslim world, Iran is like the head of them. Iran is the head of the Muslim world, and we've always mentioned for months, for actually as long as I can remember in this faith, Albert Pike. You always bring up Albert Pike, the Muslim world versus the Zionist regime, and this is what's happening. So not only the Strait of Hormuz, but the proxies of Iran, they're going to begin to disrupt all types of and create all types of issues. It's just begun, as they said, the beginning of sorrows. Okay, so they've been projecting maybe $5-10 a gallon. It could go way higher than that, right? Depending on how this plays out.
Hey, the past couple of weeks, up where I live at, I seen the gas price. I always tell based on the gas prices. I'm like, yo, gas went from $2.89 to $2.99.
And that
What
was
did
only
they pay?
5 to 7% increase.
That's
crazy. They're saying gas right now was about $75. So if it goes up to 300, that's like 400%. So if it goes from 289 to 299 with 5%, what do you think 4% going to look like? 400% going to look like.
Oh my God.
Crazy work.
Yeah, very
And the thing is, ain't nobody going to be traveling. Yeah, you decide to go to a city, you better make sure you don't have enough money to go to a city.
Them flights,
Yup,
you
the
bitches
flights,
love
yup.
to take them flights. The flights ain't gonna be happy. You better sit your ass at home. You better find a man at the Lord and quit fucking around, bitch. Straight up.
Then they're gonna come fight you.
And for brothers out there, go fill up that tank if you can.
Oh yeah.
Real talk.
Elder Foster said that like a couple of days ago.
And a bike.
Ain't no fucking get that bike. Better get the cardio going.
Yeah. Job's gonna be a struggle to get to work every day.
Yeah.
Filling up like maybe 2-3 times a day. I'm like, yo, I ain't got this shit.
You're gonna be paying your whole paycheck just to go to work. Just to go to work.
I claimed the job. So when you mess up the energy, energy price is going to become a crisis for real.
That's why they got these right here.
Yeah.
You see this right lined up. It's spiritual where we lined up by this Tesla battery. It looks like they're about to open them up any second now.
And this is why it's very important to understand prophecy, not just hear about it and know some idea about it, but you need to understand prophecy because you know what's going on, right? When you fully understand prophecy, you understand what does it mean when it says the least of the flock? What does it mean when it says that this is going to do this, right? You can easily link that up with biblical, with current events and know where they fit in the Bible, so that way you actually understand what is happening and what it actually means, what's going to happen next. You don't want to be in a position where it's like, yeah, I've heard, Iran, but I'm not sure why Iran is so important. You know what I mean? The brothers always bring out 2 Ezra 15, but like, what does it actually mean? Because I remember when I first came into the truth, and I remember it was years ago, there was something that happened with like Russia and the US. That was when Trump first came into office, and brothers were going into these World War III scriptures. But to us, it was like, okay, I'm excited because brothers are excited, but I don't really fully understand what the verse means. You want to make sure you fully understand these scriptures, man. And not only does it build up your faith, but it gives you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
That in Revelation 1, it's a blessed is he that readeth, which the word readeth goes into understand. It's not just reading, because that's what these churches do. They just read, but with no understanding. And that's why when things like this happen, they're not going to give the breakdown and tell you exactly what it is, what's happening. Because remember, the church, their whole doctrine is, you're going to be raptured before all this breaks loose, all hell breaks loose. So you're not understanding what's really going on, man. What's really going on.
No, wait till you done. Are you done? Yo, because like I was gonna say this as far as the Christian churches go, we gotta understand like when the Lord said the true worshipers, because if you are a so-called Christian and you believe in the Lord, the second coming, those should be the happiest bunch of people right now. Whether you bring us the rapture or not. Why are the Christians not the happiest people on earth? Why are they not the ones rejoicing? The Lord said, rejoice and be glad when you see these things. If the disciples ask Yahushua, who the word called Jesus, what should be the sign of thy coming? And he says the things that they're saying. Why are the Christians not happy?
This is actually the time where this supposed to be doing.
This is how you're supposed. This is how you're supposed to be rejoicing. You should be doing backflips. You should be catching the holy. They say the holy G. You should be catching all that. You should be your big mama and all of them should be in the church wallet. The pastor should be like, yo, the Lord is about to come back. That's why the Lord said you're gonna know his true worshipers, because the true worshipers are gonna be happy at these things, no matter how dire or how bad they could be, even if it affects us personally.
And we're happy at the actual knowledge.
Yeah.
Because in these churches, they be jumping around doing backflips. And they be like, yo, what they talked about? I don't know, but the spirit was
They will put it on you.
You just have the spirit going. Like, yeah, they're doing all that. And that goes to show you how just Jake is just stupid, right? You got a zeal, but not even according to knowledge. But it's the knowledge and wisdom that makes you stable in this time.
That's right.
This is what's going to make you stable, knowing what's happening when all hell is breaking loose, when you have a EMP bomb, right? Or you have a cyber attack, where you got Trump, Iran saying we want to activate our sleeper cells in America. People are not going to understand what the fuck that means, but we understand it. And we know that through the Spirit, the Lord is going to guide our steps so that, yeah, we can still maneuver, because we still going to have to go through and do our daily ones and twos, but he's not going to put us in a position to be affected by those things. And that's how the Lord guides us, man. That's the guiding of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But everybody else, you're going to be left to your own devices. Use your own mind now to guide you. Let's see how far you get. Let's see where your own understanding gets you, because you didn't want to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Quick precept.
A little more on this. Oh, you can go ahead. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So again, the Carmanians are who? The Iranians. Okay, and the dragons of Arabia are going to be allied with them. And this whole situation that's happening with Iran, the Persians in the Bible, is going to activate all these different proxies that they have throughout the region.
You know what's interesting about a wild boar too? When you look at them in the wild, they a lot of times are looked at as prey, but they're very hard to actually take down. Like a lion can't just easily take down a boar. They have to be very strategic with it. And it's funny that the 48ers call this shit the rising lion. But a lion can't just easily take down a boar. They're faster. Boars are faster, and they got the little husks. So they're very like pesky. So it says it's gonna be raging like a wild boar. And they also, I think it says further on that they're going to remember their former nature.
That's the next verse. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them.
And you've had a lot of these Arabic countries already come out and say we need to basically support the Iranians. All of the Muslim countries in the region needs to come against the 48ers. Turkey said it. Turkey said it. Pakistan said it. You've had conversations that Qatar had. They're playing both sides of the fence right now, but they're all doing these things, and eventually they're seeing that America and the 48ers, they're aggressors right now. These are our Ishmaelite brothers. We got to join forces with them. And then you want to also have, because we just mentioned that the foreign minister of Iran said he's about to have a meeting with Putin on Monday. So you want to see what that comes about. Let's not forget China as well. And they also was talking about how China could use this situation to basically go at Taiwan, because they're seeing that America's occupied. They're already occupied. Same shit that happened in Rome. Spread too thin.
China sent shit to Iran too.
Hey, a quick comment about Shalom. I'm not. You got a precept? Yeah, bring that up real quick.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9. I'll start from verse 9. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torment.
For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. And
Right,
they that have
That's synonymous with Proverbs, the first chapter, where the Lord says, he called, but he didn't hear him.
Oh, wait.
You know what I'm saying?
I gotta bring this out, bro. Unless needs be.
Yep.
The United States military is now briefing troops that the strike on Iran is expected to trigger counterattacks on American bases and facilities across the Middle East, and could also activate Iran-backed and other foreign terrorist organization cells abroad, including within U.S. to target Americans.
We talked about that today.
Bro, we read that. Second Ezra 15.
Yes.
Besiege
We'll
them
read
from
it
within
right
the land of
now.
the Assyrians.
We'll read it right now.
Yep.
You see?
Yeah.
Yo, this is prophecy playing out in real time. But the rest of the world don't know what's going on. They're gonna go to church Sunday tomorrow. They're not even gonna talk about none of this.
Or none of it.
Or they might be like, tell us about our what the fuck's going on? No.
It's in Jerusalem.
I'm gonna go see it.
I'm gonna go see.
Yo, if somebody was to ask, if somebody was to ask a pastor about it, they'll probably say some bullshit a politician would say. They'll say something a politician would say, like, well, war is bad, for some, but they're not going to say that it's supposed to be happening. They're not going to say it's leading to the Lord's return. And that's the whole point. They're not going to talk about prophecy. They never have. They're not prophets. Because if they were prophets, they would have been told them about this about to happen. It wouldn't be, oh, what about it now? Now it's happening. It's like, no, prophesy before. It's to say before it happens. Now it's happening. Now the end is speaking. And now even like niggas in the world, they all like that putting the what we just seen in CNN and put in my friend's worldly chat. They put it in here. So now it's like, yo, the Lord's putting that spirit upon all flesh, because eventually that might be all that's on TV. That's gonna be all that's on TV. It's gonna be World War III. It's gonna be they attack this. They're gonna do it's not gonna be no more real wise and hip hop and Diddy's trial. Ain't gonna be none of that shit. It's gonna be World War III, the war to end all wars. I ain't gonna be too
Right, and that's prophecy, because guess what? Everything you just said is what we're going to be witnessing soon. What the elder just read is all they're telegraphing the sudden destruction, because they say, oh, they got sleeper cells that's going to be activated because of what we just did. That we just said that. We literally just said they got sleeper cells that's going to be activated based on this reaction, man, or this action that's going to have a reaction.
It's to the point where we're speaking it, and the headline is coming like the same time.
Right.
Like we're saying it, and then people look at their phone and they see the headline we just spoke about happening. Steve Bannon, which is one of Trump's right-hand men, he just said earlier that we already in World War III. And if you haven't figured that out, you don't know what's going on at all.
You got it. I'm not. You have a little more?
Yeah. Verse 11, and they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain.
Right. So the destruction is coming, and based on all these things, this is the beginning of sorrows, like Yahushua said. And all these different prophets, including us, we've been saying the same thing, man. That when you start seeing these things take place, you should know that your security that they've been promising you all this time is all going to dissipate, man. Because the same country that's telling you, oh, we got to protect our American citizens, they're the same people that be doing all these tests and different things against you. So where's the protection coming from? The same people who are hurting you are going to be the ones to protect you from the shit that they're about to do to you. All right, we'll see. Go ahead, bro. You got more? All right, Tom. I got a quick comment. It's kind of funny, but here. The brother, this is a servant of the Lord, 144 Da. It says, a Jake at my job left his bike on the train here in NYC and asked the cops for help. And they told him they're worried about bombs, not bikes.
Get your priorities right, nigga.
Damn, you got bigger fish to fry.
They're worried about bombs, not bikes. In other words, your personal issues don't matter anymore. Your country that you woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Egypt is looking for help. You go into Egypt for help. That nigga says he can help. Where's the help gonna come from? You see, now you're starting to see the difference between those who believe in the Heavenly Father and those who don't. Remember, I always say this: there's a Goshen in Egypt. No matter what you do, man, there's always gonna be a Goshen in Egypt.
That's right.
You got it, bro.
All right, preset. Want somebody else on something?
We're gonna close it out.
All right, Habakkuk 2:1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, Hey, this is what the brother's been doing. We've been upon the tower watching, and now we're finally seeing the fruit of us watching, the fruit of us being occupied. We're obsessed with this, man. We're addicted to this, man. This is our passion. This is our life, man.
That's right.
This is all we care about, bro. So now to see it happen, that's why we praising the Lord, man. You other people out there are faking the funk, man. You don't care about the Most High. You don't care about His Son, man. You don't care about prophecy. You don't care about the Word. You care about whatever the hell you can get in this wicked-ass vain world before it all fucking burns out, man. But we care about this, man. That's why we've been standing upon the watch, because the Lord commanded us to do so, man. Reading on, it says, and will watch to see what He will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Right, so we have the answers. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the Lord gave us the answers. What's going on with Iran? Well, those are the Persians. What's going on with the U.S.? That's Babylon. What's going on with those people in the land? Those are the small hats. Those are Amalek. We're telling you everything. We're breaking it all down. Whole 100% doctrine, man. You got nothing that you're lacking if you come to us for answers, man.
Hey,
We give you a whole
word,
truth.
man. I wanted to say our elders were right, man. You know, our elders were right that they told us, and they kept it according to doctrine, man.
Right.
They kept it according to doctrine. And it wasn't a personal, it was about what the Lord said, man.
Right.
And now what? Now what you gonna do with these other guys, man? Because they're not talking about prophecy, they talking about eating romaine lettuce. They're talking about different shit, man. But the time is gonna come where your people that you were following, they're gonna have questions. They're gonna be asking, "Where? What about this?" And you haven't been can't even talk no more.
Trump says Iran should stop immediately, otherwise they will get hit again. See?
And I just seen something. I saw the brother that they were saying that the bombs that they just dropped, those couldn't have been effective enough because of how far deep we were talking about it before. How far deep they're underground. So they would have to do a succession of bombs. So what we were just saying, that they probably hit them with the first round, knowing that Iran was going to strike back, and then them give a basic excuse to say, okay, now we can strike back.
Yeah, they just tenderizing the meat so they cook it.
But once again, prophecy prevails, because what is going to take place? Russia going to get involved, man. Being a guard. When you're guarding something, that means it's weak. It needs protection. And Iran, and the world knows Iran can't go against America by itself. Right. We know that. Right. But we also know that that's not what's going to happen. It's not going to just be Iran against America.
It just started off.
That's just how it starts off.
Now, I was just going to say, Putin just said yesterday, states unequivocally that he will not recall Russian scientists from Iran, and we are not leaving Iran. We are continuing our relations. So, what's this going to spark?
See?
Let the Russian scientists get killed.
And as we keep saying, this could just speed up the prophecy of the MOTB, right? Because all they got to do is just collapse this current system, have this fucked up for a minute, and they come back. Oh yeah, this is us. This is the new way.
That's it.
And the EMP attack is perfect. After you shut off the lights and shit like that, whatever, the food trucks start coming to these supermarkets and shit like that, it's a wrap.
Yep.
I mean, they're gonna ramshack these fucking stores and shit like that. Ain't gonna be nothing left. You know what I mean?
Right on Iran. Yeah.
Right. Just blame it on Iran.
Because now the people don't want to go to war against Iran, so they have to make a reason to stop. We just bombed Iran. People say, "Oh, why did you do this?" Right. That's the side effect. Right. So come the next couple of days or so, hey, they might say, "Fuck it, let's go after these people." Man. That's it. You know.
Yep. Reading on Habakkuk 2:2, and Yahweh answered me and said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." For the vision is what? The prophecy. All right. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. That means that everything that the Lord prescribed to happen, that was foretold in the scriptures, is going to happen. And we're in the time of the fulfillment of all these things, man. That's why you have the testimony of Yahweh Shai, the true testimony, not the testimony of Caesar Borgia. Okay, the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy, man. The only place you're going to find prophecy 100% told is amongst the true men of the Lord, man. And it reads, it says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. It ain't tarrying, man. It's popping off left and right, man. You know, and the spirit was on the Zaquan for brothers to be here at this particular point. And you know, we didn't think that we was gonna come here and see all of this, man. You know, and all this was gonna be happening. We had a sense of what's going on, of course, but that just goes to show you the spirit of the Lord is working, man.
And as soon as we talked about that, like we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff. We didn't really talk about the war while we was together. But as soon as we talked about that toward the end, that's when we seen the military plane, and then that's when everything happened, man.
You use the word specifically, bombing.
The way you said it was like an alert.
It's happening.
Like, because you were emphasizing like an example of what we would do.
Right.
You're like, you're throwing bombs.
And literally right out. Boom.
Yep.
They don't even be considering that. Don't stand around with them examples.
You just texted me, we bombed Iran. And you know what's funny? Because I told her this a couple of years ago. I said, when you see America, Iran, Israel, just know it's about to pop off. Here we are. Here we are. So, hey, Paul, about you house.
And they don't even be playing. They don't even be playing CNN. They don't even be playing CNN. That's right.
Right.
All of a sudden.
Word, I don't even remember watching TV either. Yeah,
I was about to say.
yeah, it do be off actually. So I guess I don't remember seeing that on before, man.
We might have left at 6:30 and not seen it. It's all together.
Yeah, we're good left.
Yeah.
We're good there.
Paul, about you. We are truly a testament to the Lord's word. You know, we've been saying this from day one, man. We believe it. So to see these things playing out just like that, and we have people that actually are testifying that, yo, you got this, say this, like that, this is happening. They're hitting us up talking about, yo, what you were saying is coming to pass. So this is the beginning of the other things that we said that's coming to pass. Exactly. You know what I mean? Shit.
Got a quick one just to close it out. Ezekiel 33, you got it. 33 verse 33 says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them.
Right. So we're seeing all those things that the Lord said will come to pass. And we've said before they come to pass, these are the things that are going to come to pass. And we gave intense, great detail. We gave you great detail. We gave you examples. And it wasn't just a day or two. It was for years, man.
Where you got fed up.
You got fed up. It was at nauseam.
You don't want to speak no more.
You keep saying the same thing. You know, but now it's come to pass. And guess what? It happened at a time like today. We said, all eyes are watching.
Yeah.
And it happened when all eyes, we said it today. We said, Lord is making sure everybody's watching so then the show can start. And once the show, there you go. There you go. There you go.
You gotta close it up, bro.
Yep. Close it up. Yeah. Hey, so hey, man, we're seeing things happen, man. We're gonna keep our eyes out and keep watching to see what's gonna happen in the next couple of days, right? How's it gonna affect not just geopolitically, but how's it gonna affect America as well? Because America is the main event. Always remember that America is the main event. So if America is getting involved in World War III, understand that how is it going to affect the people here?
Right.
I expect to see the draft. I expect to see the MOTB pick up. I expect to see so many different things.
Certain attacks on
Certain attacks. Certain attacks. We don't know, but we know.
Yo, honestly, now, like we may not know. Like we told the guy, we may see you again. We may not see you again.
That's crazy.
Like you may see us do an elevator. You may not. That's the time we're living in right now, man. So the time is short, man.
They could aim July 4th.
July 4th. Yeah. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But hey, all signs are pointing to a time like never before, man. Like the scripture says, Jeremiah 30:7. You know what I'm saying? So you saw what happened a couple of weeks ago with the whole LA thing. So that's already a tone setter. And then a couple of weeks after that, you see this whole thing geopolitically. So you got domestically and foreign things happening that's going to kick to a time like never before, man, like trouble. You know what? Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. You know what I'm saying? So hey, with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Wadi Yahweh Shmi Al-Shai. Until next time.
Yo.